Is the cup of coffee half empty, or is it half full?
What is life? Why are we here? I believe that we all just want to feel something. We all just want to love and be loved.
Coffee's the lifeblood. Hey there everyone, this is a tough video for me to make, to tell you the truth. I hope you're doing well, first of all, but I just wanted to update you guys. I wanted to be real with you guys. I wanted to be real and transparent and let you know about my personal training vlog, the OTQ series, what's happening with my next race heading into 2020 here. Some issues I've been having as well, because it's all about honesty, transparency, struggling through similar challenges maybe together, and I even wrote some notes down so I don't try to go off on too many tangents, try not to make this extremely long. But if you were wondering about the OTQ series and the upcoming Houston Marathon and my upcoming first race of 2020, this is where to start. And again, you know, I feel like it's a tough video for me to make. I didn't want to do it, and maybe I'll regret it. I don't know, but I'm gonna be real with you guys. That's all I can be. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. So I pulled out of the Houston Marathon. It's in like 2 weeks. Some of you have been asking on Strava. People have been speculating, why is he doing these 30-mile long runs and adding in vertical and all this, not tapering down, not doing the Houston Marathon. I actually pulled out several weeks ago, and it was a really tough choice. It was a really tough choice because it had been this goal to try to get a last-ditch OTQ, or to run under 2:19 in the marathon, qualify for what would have been my third U.S. Olympic Trials marathon. And you know, this has been an ongoing saga on the YouTube channel, the OTQ series. I started, 4 years ago, trying to hit the standard in 2016. It was also 2:19, and ultimately missing by 12 seconds. My best performance in that series was a 2:19.12 at Boston. Did get 16th place at Boston, which I'm really proud of, but ultimately missing the standard by 12 seconds. In this cycle for 2020, I ultimately missed by 50 seconds. I ran 2:19.50 at the Houston Marathon, actually, a couple years ago when the standard had already opened. Got 9th place overall at the Houston Marathon, missed by 50 seconds. So I failed. So what? This has been an important goal of mine personally, and it's been a struggle for me. And I feel like by saying that I've pulled out of the Houston Marathon, I've given up, so to speak, on my goals, right? Don't want to be a pessimist, don't want to say that the glass is half empty, right? But, it's a tough thing. You give up on your goals and dreams. I'm a quitter. And I know some of you that probably doesn't sit well. It's not a good example, but it's the reality of things. And I'll tell you why I pulled out. I'll tell you why I think I've been having issues trying to get my flat road speed back. It's been an issue, but I think this is actually a different case than some of those other times. And I'll talk about what holds for the future. But, maybe you could relate to this. Nothing in life, outside of running, nothing in life is perfect, right? We have these goals and dreams, and it's great. We write them down, New Year's resolutions, and a lot of times we fall short of them. Or maybe things just don't work out exactly to plan, right? You have a 5-year business plan, or you have this idea of how your life's gonna go in the next couple months or the next couple years, and it doesn't happen that way, right? Setbacks occur, challenges, adversity. We face all sorts of things, and for me to say, "Oh, boo-hoo, I'm pulling out of the Houston Marathon," I chose to do that. It's not really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of life when people are struggling to find their next meal, or people are struggling with some real health issues or real trauma in their lives, right? This is like a first world, advanced type of problem, right? It's not a big deal, but yeah, I'm upset, I'm disappointed. I'm harsh on myself, or at least I try to be. I've probably 80% of the goals I've set in my entire running career, starting in middle school when I was 12 years old, I haven't met. I probably haven't met, I spilled my coffee. I haven't met probably 80% of my goals, because I always set these tiers of goals, right? In college it was, I didn't want to just run under 14:30 for 5K, I wanted to crack 14 minutes for 5K. I didn't even get close. I ran 14:29 for 5K. I had a goal of cracking 30 minutes in the 10K, did that. Then the next goal was to run under 29:30. Didn't do that. The pie in the sky goal was to be All-American and run under 29 flat. Wasn't even close to that, right? It would have been nice to say, hey, I'm a 3-time Olympic trials qualifier, U.S. Olympic trials qualifier. But, I've qualified for 2 Olympic trials already. It's not like this would be my first Olympic trials, and it's not like I'm totally giving up on the dream. I'll get more back to that in a bit at the end of this video. But the idea is that, you have these goals and dreams and things don't always work out. And that's just the reality of things. And sometimes, I'm not saying you should just quit, but I feel like sometimes I was just banging my head against the wall, expecting a different result, and beating myself up when there's an opportunity cost. There's an opportunity cost for me trying to say, oh no, I'm going to try to still run Houston, and going out and running significantly over 220 or something like that. So part of the choice that this came down to was the opportunity cost, but the fact that I've run 15 road marathons, finished 15 road marathons in my career, and 6 of them have been under 220. Only 2 of them have been under 219. But I've kind of learned over the last 12 years of running road marathons, that the types of workouts that I had hit about a month out from a sub 220 type of performance at least, I wasn't even close to hitting. And actually, if we go in chronological order, we see coming off the Golden Trail Series, racing and traveling in Nepal, it was going to be a tough timeline. I've always put a limit on my time. Any service, any distance, let's try to do this challenge. But I don't think that was ultimately the issue so much as the fact that I was starting to get, I think my form just got off, and I was getting really quad dominant running on flat pavement around here in Boulder. But I came off the Golden Trail Series in Nepal. I started training, I was pretty optimistic. I was optimistic because I did 10 by 1,000 on the Boulder Bike Pass out here. My first workout back, I was already at 310, doing 10 by 1,000 at altitude, the short rest. I was like, give me 4 weeks, I'll be doing 10 by a K in 3 flat, and then I'll be golden, right? Then I'll be running 100 miles a week, 160K a week. I'm doing flat pavement stuff in Boulder. I raced the Xterra World Champs in Hawaii, the 21K Xterra, and got second to Joe Gray, only 90 seconds behind Joe Gray, who's like a low 28-minute 10K runner. He's a 103 half marathon runner. He's really specializes in shorter distance mountain running. He just won the world mountain running champs at 12K. He's an amazing 12K or half marathon trail type of runner. He's only 90 seconds behind him, several minutes ahead of guys like Andy Wacker. And I was feeling really optimistic. The thing with Xterra, though, is that it was very muddy and it's very hilly, and I could kind of claw my way to that fitness. And I'm not saying that I'm in bad shape. I'm just not getting my flat marathon road speed back. And as the training went on throughout December, about a month ago, I was bombing, doing really bad, failing in these track workouts. And it was hard because sometimes it would be really windy when I'm doing 400 meter repeats. There's this horrible wind, it throws your form off, throws the splits off, so just go by effort, right? Other days, the track's covered in snow. We had some early snow in November, December in Boulder. It's pretty bad, so you're slipping on the ice. I'll do a treadmill workout. Well, it's hard to dial in that exactly. So, I was in Cleveland over the holidays before Christmas, and I had Sandy film me doing some thousands on the track, and I thought I was running pretty fast, and I was still running 3:10 pace, which isn't much faster than goal marathon pace, right? Being 3:17 for an OTQ. Bad sign when you could barely do kilometer repeats a little faster than your marathon pace. You want to be doing them significantly faster than your goal marathon pace. But my form was off. It wasn't that my heart rate was super high. It was that I could see this lack of spring in my stride, this lack of glute activation, this lack of hamstring activation. And I look down at my thighs in the shower and I see this bulge on the outside of my thigh. It's not a good bulge. It's not a good bulge. That's dead weight. You do not want to be building up your thighs like that. It'd be better if I had more of that power in my stride, that spring in my step that I used to have, like when I got 16th place at Boston, or when I was doing these other workouts. I'm actually going to do a whole other video on fixing my form, part 2, again, because I think I made the exact same mistake training for Rotterdam about exactly a year ago, right? I have no excuse. I fail, I make mistakes, I do not have all the answers. I have to constantly be thinking about my form, or I think I revert back to these bad habits. So last year I had plenty of time to train for Rotterdam and Comrades, and my theory now is, I did all this great running on flat pavement, bike paths, and boulders. Like, oh yeah, my legs are strong. I don't get broken down. I've been extremely blessed, extremely lucky to be able to run 100 miles a week, 100 plus miles a week, 160K a week on pavement. And I won't get a stress fracture. I don't get injured, but I can throw my form off, and it makes me slower, I think now. The Hokas make it feel super comfortable, right? I'm not breaking bones, I'm not stressing my knees, I'm not tearing any tendons or anything, but I think my form gets a little sloppy when I start doing all this flat pavement running. And I had this realization in the summer. Because after my disaster at Rotterdam, disaster at Comrades, disaster at Mount Blanc Marathon, I was able to turn things around in 6 weeks for Sierre Zinal and Pikes Peak. And the number one thing I did, besides the hex bar deadlifts and short hill reps, lowering my mileage a bit, started doing high intensity uphill stuff, doing more trail stuff, because I think on the trails I'm just naturally better at activating my glutes and hamstrings. And that's my new theory now, and that's what I'm going to go with. But I was so upset about a month ago as I went home to Oregon. I raced that 10K that my dad was in. It was just a little tune-up, and I thought I was going to run at least under 31 minutes. I ran over 32 minutes. It's pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I ran a 32-minute 10K on the roads in high school, right? And I just didn't like how I felt in that. And I look at the video clips, I look at Sandy when she's filmed me in some of these workouts, and I could just see there's something biomechanically off, and it's just, there's no power in the stride. It feels really hard. My heart rate's pretty low actually, but there's no push-off power, and I think it's that lack of glute activation, that lack of hamstring activation. The whole posterior chain, the whole backs of my legs, I don't have that spring in my step. And if I look back on workouts when I actually was running well on the roads, I had that spring in my step. Or even as recently as the Pikes Peak Marathon, right? Getting second to Kilian Jornet at Pikes Peak earlier this summer. Gosh, I can't even talk right. So anyway, yeah, I've missed most of my running goals in my career. I've failed coaching myself to an OTQ over the last 4 year cycles, and I only have myself to blame, and I kind of like that. I like placing the blame on myself. I've made the same mistakes over and over again, and a lot of you have called me out on it. In my defense, though, I did coach myself to a number of sub 220 marathons, and sub 219 is a really tough time for me to hit. I've also coached myself to, like I said, 16th place at Boston. I consider that on par with my best marathon performance of my life, and I actually have a goal. I'll get into this, I guess. I'm not giving up on road marathon running, and if they lower the standard to like 215, maybe I'll give up on the OTQ in 2024. But I still love road marathon running. It's great. I still have this goal kind of in the back of my head that maybe I could be top 20 at all the US marathon majors, because I have been top 20 at Boston. I ran Chicago a long time ago. I was 17th place at Chicago, which I think is one of the hardest ones to place top 20 in. I just need to get top 20 at New York, and I think that would probably take an equivalent of at least a sub 219, if not better, because New York's kind of a tough course, depends on the weather, but it would have to be a field that was thin with top Americans, and then a lot of guys would have to probably drop out or have a really bad day for me to sneak into the top 20 at New York. But it's kind of been in the back of my mind. Maybe I'll go back to road marathon runnings. Of course, I love Boston. I love my experience at Rotterdam. I love connecting with you guys, road marathon stuff. But, and this will be the final point of my talk here, what I'm doing next, what am I going to do instead of Houston? Well, like I said, it's this deal with the opportunity cost. What's your next best interest if you're giving up on something, right? Or the give and take, so to speak. And like I said, I don't think I'm actually in bad shape. I think I've been building a pretty solid base. I've put in some long runs, I've put in some higher mileage stuff. I've been trying to work on the speed. Those have been more failures. But when I get back to the trails, when I get back to climbing and vertical, I'm starting to feel that strength come back. And the heart rate data is reading real well. Cardiovascular base is there. I'm itching to race instead. I'm not in sub 220 marathon shape. Like I said, the workouts were going south. I'll put it this way, if a basketball analogy. I don't know much about basketball or any sport outside of running, but say my chances before, if everything went perfectly, and if Houston was a good weather day, we don't know what the weather's going to be like in Houston. I mean, it could be hot and humid, it could be headwind the last 10K. I could have gotten sick anyway. We're not going to speculate, but let's say my chances maybe roughly were about the same chances that I would have making a 3-point shot, a basketball hoop, right? Wide open, wide open. I'm a pretty bad shot though, right? Maybe 10%, depends. So, you know, I got a chance, I got a shot. It's kind of a long shot, it's a 3-point shot, right? You're throwing one up. But, you know, it could go in. It could go in. Maybe I could have run 219. Just believe, Sage, if I just mentally believe, maybe I could have willed myself to sub 215 or sub 210. Not really. Don't believe that. I'm a realist. Call it a pessimistic view. I don't know. I got limits. I got limits. And it's not all mental. It's a big physical component, right? The sport is 60% mental. Or 90% mental. It's 90% physical, and 60% of the time that attitude works every time, right? So, you know, 3-point shot, wide open. That's if everything went perfectly. Well, the way my workouts are going, we're moving back on the court. We're moving back on the court. All of a sudden now, it looked like I'm throwing up this long shot from close to half court, right? And in, you know, like a Hail Mary. I think that's a football term, U.S. football. But you know, it's a really long shot now, and so it's like, hey, is it even worth for me to take this shot? For you, you know, you could go all in. Maybe you have a goal and you're like, this is it. I'm gonna make it or break it. I'm gonna go after my goals and dreams. I'm gonna grab life by the horns, and you know, I'm gonna go after it. More power to you. I wish I had that courage, that kind of conviction. But you know, I'm a realist. Call it a pessimistic view. Trying to be accurate with the data and numbers. I tend to overthink things, I'll admit to that. I don't want to limit myself, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, this is a bad shot. These aren't good odds for me, right? What's the opportunity cost of me running Houston and running over 220 or 222 or, you know, even slower? I don't know. And getting all beat up and not being able to race again when I've been building this fitness base. And, you know, most of my sponsors only sponsor me really for mountain ultra trail running, right? I'm not really sponsored to be a road marathon runner at all. I mean, we've got plenty of guys from Team Hoka that have made the Olympic trials that are competing to try to make a spot in the Olympics. Guys like Scott Fauble who've run 209, right, in the marathon. Actually been top 7, top 8 at Boston, I believe. A couple other guys have run, you know, 211, 212, right? We got some real fast guys. They don't need me at the Olympic trials. It would have been great fun. I would have loved to have been there. It's not gonna happen. So it's like this Hail Mary shot, this half-court shot. Odds aren't good. Maybe I shouldn't take the shot. Maybe I shouldn't take the shot. And that's kind of the decision behind pulling out of Houston, right? Maybe I should not even use a basketball because I'm so bad at throwing something like that. I'd probably be better off if I had a frisbee, a disc. I used to play disc golf a lot, and throwing it at the hoop. Maybe my odds would be better there. So like, let's take that game of basketball, that long shot, and let's just change the game, right? We're changing the game. I'm not giving up on running, but I say, hey, you know what? I'm actually better at slower stuff. I'm better as a mountain runner. I'm better on the trails where I could activate my glutes and my form just seems more efficient, right? I was never a great track runner, flat track, running 10K. I would get destroyed by guys on the track at a 10K who'd beat me by a minute, who I could hang with in cross country, especially if it was a muddy cross country course with some hills. Our courses in the US weren't that extreme usually, but it was a big difference, and it's a big difference for me to be on trails. So I said, hey, what's the opportunity? What's my next best choice of things to do? What am I passionate about? What should I go back to? What am I actually sponsored to do? What excites me? What excites me? Well, running on the trails excites me. Running on the trails, especially at this time of the year, you know, it's pretty cold out here in Boulder in the Northern Hemisphere. You know, where's an exciting place to go? What's a world-class event that I could get into that would help build my career and allow me to have a lot of fun, but get the competitive juices flowing, but still be a race I could actually win instead of, you know, I'm not going to win the Houston Marathon, right? I've been lucky to be top 15, top 20 there. I was top 10 there a couple years ago, but no prize money for 9th place at Houston, right? So, you know, I base my choices on this running channel on several different things. Like, why do we run? Well, the number one thing is health. I run for health, the health benefits. It's great, mental and physical. I think it's a great overall lifestyle, social aspect to it. Number 2, I compete is my career. It's my job. I'm sponsored to perform. I'm sponsored to podium. I'm sponsored to do well in races and represent the brands like Hoka, One that sponsor me on the world stage, right? So I should compete in races that I should probably actually try to win or at least podium in, right? And 3, I like to have fun. I like to have fun. Part of that's traveling. I know that's horrible pollution. I'm gonna write a blog post on how bad of a polluter I am from flying on these long plane flights. But I like to have fun. I like connecting with all you guys. Meeting people in person who've seen these videos is awesome. Hearing your stories, hearing how you got into the sport. Running connects us all on the global scale. Experiencing new trails around the world, beautiful landscapes, just amazing places. I've been so fortunate to be able to travel and use my legs and get out and breathe in fresh air and see these views, climb these mountains, figurative and literal. It's been a real blessing. I don't take that for granted for 1 minute. But I like to have fun. I like to have fun. And I was not having fun on the track, failing in all these workouts. And you could say, well, Sage, you're just avoiding the hard stuff, which is kind of true. I'm avoiding the hard stuff. I'm trying to curb myself from failure. But at the same time, I think I need to fix my form. I think on the trails, I'm better. At slower speeds, I am better, right? Use that Xterra World Trail Champs in Hawaii last month, or I guess it was in the end of November, as an example, right? I could run 6-minute mile pace on tough, muddy trails and be fit and compete well, but then you throw me on the roads and I'm not doing well. I'm not able to run fast right now, at least. But, like I said, I still love road marathons. Never going to give up on the road marathons. They keep the standard at 219 for 2024. I'll probably still go after it. I love road marathons that much. I love connecting with you guys at expos. I love the Boston Marathon, love the marathon majors. And the goal of still being top 20 at New York is still there, even though it might be pretty hard. I'm 34, so getting older, but still gonna try to go for 3-time Olympic trials qualifier. It has a nice ring to it. It's good for our coaching business. I'll admit, any service, any distance. It's a good plug. It shows any service, any distance diversity in the running, but it's probably not my best choice right now. And so I looked into what I'm doing next, and I am proud to announce, I'm proud to say that I will be heading back to the Tarawera Ultramarathon in New Zealand, racing the 100K. It's been a world-class event over the years. I've actually done it twice. I did it in 2013 as well as in 2014. Had a great time, had a blast there. So I'll be going back to try to defend my title, try to make a three-peat for the 100K at the Tarawera Ultramarathon. I can't thank enough to all the people that helped me get in last minute. Looking forward to the trip to New Zealand in February. It's actually coming up pretty soon. But like I said, I feel like I'm actually in pretty good shape. I'm in better shape for an ultra than I would have been for the Houston Marathon. And it does motivate me more. It's going to be a really competitive race. You got guys like my Hoka teammate, Pat Reagan, as well as Tom Evans, third place at Western States. I think he's like a 2:21 marathon runner. A bunch of world-class athletes, locals from New Zealand. I think there's maybe some really fast guys from Australia, people from Asia that come over for this race. Again, it's 100K. They've changed the course over the years, so it's hard to compare times, and weather's been real drastic over there, but it should be a lot warmer than it is here in Boulder, Colorado. And of course, New Zealand, one of my favorite places to visit. The running community there is amazing. The support there is just phenomenal. It's a world-class event. Can't thank the lead athlete support and everyone who responded to some of my Facebook posts on the Facebook group. Just really excited to be there, meet you all. Hopefully, if you guys are around, you could say hi, meet some people there. But the community is super friendly, full of awesome people, and yeah, New Zealand's just such a beautiful landscape. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll announce the rest of my schedule, I guess, later on. But yeah, this is a tough video to make. I see the glass as being half full now, but I don't want to say I gave up and I totally failed on the whole OTQ series. It hurt. It hurts a lot. It is disappointing, but that's the reality of some things in life, I think. And maybe I'm being foolish. Maybe I'm just giving in, taking the easy way out. But I'm doing these things based on what I said before: having fun, competing, having this opportunity cost, having the luxury of being able to pick and choose my schedule, and getting into these world-class events like the Tarawera Ultramarathon, where I think I could actually perform a lot better and utilize my strengths as a runner at this stage in my career. So thanks so much if you've made it through this far. I know it was a long, boring, ranting video. We'll get back to more training talks, informative stuff, how I'm trying to try to fix my running form that I think I screwed up, just like I screwed it up training for Rotterdam earlier in the spring with too much flat pavement running. Got to stay away from that. And over quad development, working on some extra exercises so it could be nice and strong, nice and fast for mountain ultra trail running for the rest of the year. And like I said, I'm going to focus on I'm not going to do any road events this year actually. I'm going to focus on mountain ultra trail running, doing the Golden Trail series again, doing Pikes Peak Marathon again. So, you know, that's the idea. Thanks so much for all your support on this channel. Appreciate all your comments. I hope your running's going well. Sorry if you're racing Houston, I won't get to see you there. But good luck with the taper if you are. Good luck if you're for any upcoming events, or if you're just getting out there for the first time, trying to build your mileage up, get more fit, enjoy the sport. Thanks to the Patreon supporters for really making this possible. Thanks to the title sponsor, Hoka One One, keeping the dream alive. I've been extremely lucky and fortunate. Really, really appreciate all your thumbs up and subscriptions on here and views. Hope your running's going well. Stay tuned for more.